Game on.
Pew pew pew. Pew 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 pew. Oh, hey guys. What are you even doing here? It says you're here to see Glenn of Glenn's Retro Show. I'm Retro Ralph. But if you're here, you're at his channel right now. Like, you need to stick around. This guy's awesome. So, he is like the godfather of retro. Kiss the ring. I created the flight stick. No, he seriously is awesome. That's a really terrible impression. But anyways, stick around. He's here in 3, 2, 1. Let's do this.
Hi everybody, thank you for joining me on today's edition of Glenn's Retro Show. Today we're going to take a look at the new version 3 optical trackball from Glenn's Retro Show. Let's have a look at what this can do, some of its features, and some gameplay. But first, let's have a quick view at our sponsor. Okay, let's have a look now at the new version 3 Glenn's Retro Show optical trackball. Okay, so here's some of the basic items you're going to get in your kit. You're going to get of course, the new optical trackball. You can see it now uses a silver coated ball. This is due to the optical technology we have. We can't illuminate the ball and have the optical technology work as intended. But we now have this ring here, and we'll show you some video of how that ring's going to work that does light up on here. But the ball is extremely smooth and accurate. It's very high. Actually, it's adjustable, I should say. So we'll get into the video how we do those adjustments and how you know what mode that you're in. But this is your main optical trackball. It has a lot more weight and heft to it. Underneath here, we have actually 2 separate connectors because right now it's directly compatible with an arcade 1-up machine, at least the generation 1 and 2. I know there are new countercades and the newer models. They've been changing stuff inside, and I actually have no idea what they've been doing in there, so I can't guarantee this will work with the newer machines, but it definitely works with the older style machines like your 12-in-1, your Centipede, those type of machines like that. We also include direct USB compatibility. So for this, you don't need a 12-in-1 board to make it USB compatible. It's just a software button, and unlike the previous trackball, you don't have to go inside here and make adjustments. Everything will be done from the outside. We also have a little strap here if you want to put a strap in to hold it down. Our typical screw hole connectors right here, and that's your trackball itself. This right here is the included USB cable. So this plugs into the 4-pin connector on the bottom of the device, which would be right over here. And when you plug this in, it makes it USB compatible. Now again, since this is designed to also work with the older generation arcade 1-ups, there is a mode switch selector, again done through button presses, that switch between the real USB mode and the arcade 1-up serial mode. Of course, we also include the main harness right here, and this is the harness part that would connect to the bottom of your trackball, which will go into this connector right here. And then on this side, we do have the standard Generation 1, Generation 2 Arcade 1-Up trackball connector. Again, I can't guarantee this to work on any newer machines. I don't have any machines to try them on. And then we have all of our different types of button connectors. Now we'll go through all these again in the video, but basically since it's a trackball, when you're in USB mode, you have a left click button right here, a right click button right here. What else we got here? We have the changing the color, which is done through just software presses. This one right here, I can't even see, it's so small. That's our middle button, middle mouse button. This one right here is your dot per inch. So again, you don't have to go inside the trackball, which our last version didn't even have that. It was more my spinner. But you can now change the dot per inch setting just by button presses on the device. What else do we have right here? We have a scroll up wheel here if you needed to use it. And we have our ground. And we have our scroll down. And like I said, the color. So there's a bunch of different connectors on here for the device. And of course, there'll be some buttons here. You can use the ones that are included, use your own. But these are my 1 million press buttons in here. And that's what you basically get in the kit. Now, you may get more buttons, you may get less buttons, you may get no buttons, just depending on the kit you purchase. But this is the basic, pretty much the basic things you would need to get this thing working. So next thing I'm going to do, we're going to put this inside my... actually, first let's try this on a PC. That's probably the better thing to do, just to show you how this thing would work on a PC in Windows and an emulator on a PC. And then we'll throw it in an arcade one-up, most likely my my 12-in-1 unit. But let's get started first. Connect this to a PC and just show you how some of the functions work.
Okay, this is just a down and dirty setup here, just to show you how this would work in a Windows environment or a Raspberry Pi environment or a Mac or a Linux environment, anything that would just use a standard USB mouse or trackball. So you can see over here, here is the actual trackball itself, and here is a Wagner's Tech Talk control panel from his OpenK project I had. I just kind of put the buttons in here so you can kind of see, what all the different functions of the trackball are going to be. So we do have our standard right click and left click. There's also the middle mouse click. Lots of machines do support a middle mouse click, so we threw it in there. You have your color changing by pressing that button right here. You can change the color in real time. Also, when you first turn on, you first supply power to it, holding this button down will determine what mode it's in, whether it's going to be in an arcade one-up classic mode or USB mode. Usually from the factory by default, it's probably set up for the arcade one-up mode, but you never know. You have to kind of press that. So if you do connect it and it doesn't work, you want to power it on, holding down this button to switch its mode to either USB or arcade one-up classic. We also add here a dot per inch mode. So that means in real time you can press that button even during gameplay and change the dot per inch in the game. I'll show you what that does on the trackball for an indicator, as well as what the mouse will do on screen. And of course we just have our S up for scroll wheel up and S down for scroll wheel down. So you're most likely not going to use that for anything, but it is a trackball, and if you do have it in a Windows PC, you won't need to have a separate mouse or trackball to navigate your screen. You can do it right from here now versus having to have no mouse clicks or buttons available to you with just a standard trackball. So that's it. So right now here is our USB interface cable right here. Put it up here too, so you can kind of see it. It's just a regular USB cable. So we're going to connect two separate things. We're going to connect this here to my PC. We also have to connect this here, which is the cable that will connect it to all your buttons and also to an arcade one-up. So if you're using arcade one-up, you wouldn't need this at all. But in this particular case, I'm going to need both. So we're just going to turn the trackball over. And you can see on the back here, we have different connectors. This little guy is going to go into the larger connector here, and it locks in place, just like so. That's done. And then the other thing I need to do is connect my little connector here for the USB, like so. So that's it, really simple. We'll turn this back upside down here. Now you can see on the trackball itself, there is an arrow. This arrow tells you this is going to face towards your monitor, so you want to make sure that's done the right way. Now when I connect the USB cable here, I'm not quite sure what mode it's going to come up in. So if I move the trackball and nothing happens, I simply have to recycle the power again, holding down the color button there, which will switch it between Arcade One Classic and USB mode. So I'm going to connect this thing right now to my computer. Oh my God, I don't know if I have an available USB port. I have so many things on this machine, but I think I might in the back. So let's see here. And do I? Oh, there it is, hiding down here. So we'll connect this little guy right here. Just made it. I only had one USB port left. So you can see when I connected it, it powered up. And again, these web cameras don't pick up colors very well. but it's like green and yellow oscillating colors on the trackball. You can see there's a ring. Consider it like a black hole. You don't see the black hole in the middle, but you see that nice light ring around it. And there's different modes we'll go through in a second. So technically my computer says something's connected, but let's see if the actual mouse is working right now. Now I am moving it here, and I'm not seeing anything on the screen, which means it's in Arcade 1-Up Classic mode. So all I need to do is unplug my USB port once again. I'm going to hold down the color button for about 10 seconds on power up. And you got that little flash on the trackball there. Now, technically, it should have switched. So let's see. I'm going to move the trackball again. And there it is. You can see on the screen over here, we have our trackball. Now, I don't know necessarily what mode it's in, but we're going to go through that one second. First, I just want to cycle through the colors. Again, I'm not sure what the colors will come up on the screen. But it does, in person, look a lot better, obviously. So I'm going to hit the color button right here. And now, to me, it switched to a luminous green mode. And I'm really saddened that it's not showing up too well on my webcam here. Now it's a purple. I'll try and get separate shots and different lighting. Maybe it'll come up even better. And now it's a like a white color. That's like a whitish blue. And now it's doing a halo effect, like a comet tail in red. And now it's doing it in yellow, green, darker green, beautiful blue, purple, off completely, and then it's doing a all color effect with a very slow cycling effect around the colors. Again, I'll try and get a better shot of this because it does look really nice, but it's obviously not coming up very well on my web camera here. And then it's doing a fast cycling all around, almost like a carnival ride. I'm gonna put it right now on this here, which is kind of different. Color cycling is very slow. So right now, again, like I said, I can move the trackball here, and again, it's very, very smooth. There's no like gears or window wheels on your regular trackball. It's very, very smooth, very, very accurate, no matter how fast or slow I go. It's a very expensive technology inside this trackball. We're gonna try and get the price down as low as we can, but this will definitely be more than the version 2 trackball, which we will continue to sell because that's still a good trackball. This is much more of a premium, high-end version of the trackball. So since I don't really know what mode it's in other than it does work, when I press the dot per inch mode right here, the ring will indicate an amount of colors around it, how many dot per inch is. If it's only lighting up a very small spot, it's on the lowest setting. If it lights up a little bit more, it's on a higher dot per inch. Light up a little bit more, a higher dot per inch, more, and then of course all the way to the top of the line. So I'm going to press the DPI here once, and you can see it's almost actually, it's right about here. So it starts here, and it's all the way over here. So it's almost at a very high setting. Let me go again. Now it's on the full setting, and now it's only indicating that small spot right here, which means right now I'm in the lowest setting. So I'm going to do is just take my finger here on the trackball and just go across the ball once. And then we can look on screen and see how far my mouse pointer moves when I do that. So I'm going to put my finger right here. I'm just going to go straight across like this. So you can see how little the pointer is moving. So right now the dot per inch is very, very low. But in a game like Centipede, in my version 2 trackball, I liked it. But a lot of people felt that it was moving way too far. And it was. But I still felt good in playing it. But they felt it was too far. So with this trackball in this number 1 setting here, it's going to move about 3 mushrooms, which is, I think, what the arcade had done when you move the trackball that far. So if you want to have it set up like this, you can have it be very, very small movements for large trackball movements. So now I'm going to hit the dot per inch one more time. And I went from here to here. So I went from here to here. So now I'm in a slightly higher dot per inch setting. So I'll do the same thing here. I'm going to take my finger. You can see the pointer travels much further with me moving my trackball just one arc back and forth. So we'll hit that again. And now we're here. So we went from this area to this area, and now I'm down to about this area in the dot per inch setting. So I'm going to do this again. You can see how much further it moves. And again, this can be done in real time, no matter what game you're playing. You just hit that DPI button and change it on the fly, and you'll get the visual indicator on the trackball about what setting you're in. So I'm going to hit that dot per inch again. And now we're here. So again, here to here, Now we're down over here, and let's do this again. I'm doing about half the screen with the trackball moving from side to side. So what I'm going to do now is leave it over here, because I think this next one's going to probably go off the screen. So I'm going to go all over in the corner here. Hit the DPI again. I've almost gone the full amount. I've gone probably about 80% of the light ring around it. So now I'm going to take my trackball, and you see it goes well past the screen. So if I go right here, let's just see how far I go before I hit the end of my screen. It's the 22-inch widescreen ViewSonic. I would say it's just really about one trackball turn for the entire screen, maybe a little bit further. Yeah, it definitely goes further. So if I go here, I would say the track movement goes about 80%. I hit the end of the screen, then I'm off. So that's on that setting. Now I'm going to go on the very last setting here, which should be the highest diopter range we offer. And you can see the ring is completely solid all the way around, so there's no blank spot, which means I'm in the highest setting the trackball supports. And let's see how far it goes to the end of the screen. About half of the trackball now does the whole screen. So obviously I do the whole thing, it's well off the screen. So this is now its highest setting. And again, hit the DPI again. I now default it back to my original mode. And again, you can just hit it on the fly. It's not a big deal. I can be using it, hit the button, and it will change on the fly, even if I'm moving the trackball. So that's kind of, one of the main things people wanted in the version 2 was a way to change that DPI. Now, I was able to do it on Thingiverse. I did upload some 3D printed files you could put in your version 2 trackball to change the pedals from 22 to 20 to 18 pedals, and the less pedals made it less sensitive to the gameplay. But a lot of people either didn't want to do that. It's or even pay for Thingiverse to send you, but it's very, very inexpensive, a couple of dollars. But in any case, with this unit, it's already built in. So you have USB built in, Arcade 1-Up Classic built in, changing colors on the fly built in, no dip switch settings. It could be just dumb or pressing a button, and you can also change the dot per inch. You also have your right, left click, and center click buttons, and scroll up and down buttons. So that's basically if you were using this in a Raspberry Pi build, MAME, RetroArch, Linux, an arcade machine that supported USB. You could put this in there, and again, you have to put these buttons on. Now, we're including these kind of buttons. You may want to put in very small buttons, like little tiny buttons somewhere in the machine where it's hidden, but you do have the option, and perhaps somewhere down the road, people come up with other ways to maybe use a magnet, little magnet switches to change it. People have done that already with my version 2, and changing the light, a little magnet switch that just kind of detected your finger touching on the wood. I'll put a link down below in case you guys want to get something along those lines. But that's pretty much it as far as just showing you how this would work in a PC. Again, the trackball will never bind up, like sometimes with a regular trackball when you have the bars and the pedals spin really fast. It's possible that it doesn't register it. It happens, or they get dirty, which is the bigger thing. If the trackball gets dirty, that you may turn the ball, but it doesn't register it, and you got to take the whole trackball apart and clean it. This is using optical technology, like visually, like an eyeball on that ball, which is why we couldn't make it transparent and illuminate entirely. And that's what all these speckles on here. So as long as the optical sensor, just like a CD player, doesn't get a fingerprint on it or something along those lines, this thing should never miss a read. That's it. So the next thing to do is I'm going to put this in my 12-in-1. And let's play some of the games built into the Arcade 1-Up Classic and try it out, because that's what this is going to be about. Probably for the most part, people want to play games, not just sit here looking at me doing a video about it. So let's get over there, put it in, and try it out. Okay, before I forget, I did forget to show you one thing, the actual other buttons on the device. So you can see you have your trackball right here, and if you're in a Windows mode and you're setting up your MAME or want to play other games, you can simply go here, hold down the left click, and you can see you can move your mouse back and forth like that. Or you can go over to a bare area and you hit right click, and you can pick something here, like if you wanted to new, hit the left click on that, a new folder or something like that over there. We can right click on that and maybe delete it if we don't want it here. So you can see it does work like a regular regular mouse, and you don't have to have a separate device here to do that. And if you're even inside here, there you could do scroll down and scroll up The only thing I don't have anything in my Windows that I know of uses the middle click. Usually that's more of a separate program you can set up your mouse for. But in any case, you can see the other devices do work right here. Now we can take this and put it in an Arcade 1-Up Classic and see how it plays. So once again, let's go take a look. Okay, so installing this in your Arcade 1-Up is going to be very, very simple. You can see I already have my prototype. Actually, it's my second prototype. My first prototype of the optical trackball is right here. I tried this one out, and it did not work the way I liked in a lot of the games. I thought that the response was smooth but jittery. And when this was a second prototype that I was given here, and the same thing kind of happened. I didn't feel that the trackball was working properly. It seemed very jittery. Like if you went in a straight line up and down in a game, let's say like Quantum, it seemed like it went like this. It seemed like it went like almost like a ladder effect. So those are things we had to work through, but we did. And this one seems to be fine. So we're going to take this one out because this is still not the final version where the new one is. So doing this is really not difficult. You got to take your control panel out and the trackball. The only hard part could be a lot of times Arcade 1-Up has used glue, to hold the trackball in place, which actually was never a smart idea because the built-in trackballs they have had issues, and even just cleaning it. I'm not saying that there was truly a bad design, but even just to get in there and clean it, you couldn't do that because they glued it in place. And a lot of times you didn't break it, but you could have damaged the trackball or the wood getting it out. So it wasn't a smart idea to use any type of glue in there. But in any case, is what it is. So we're going to take this thing out, and we just have to disconnect our old IBM IDE cable, which I thought was always funny that they used. But hey, it works, and it's a decent connector. We'll unplug that. And since I have my light-up marquee from Angel, I got to disconnect that cord as well. And then we can take the unit out here. And you can see right here, this machine has been used for a few different things. But you can see here is a 12-in-1 board. Now, if you do put this in like a 12-in-1, you are still going to need a 12-in-1 board for the spinner. The version 2 trackball did have a way to connect the spinner into it, but the version 3 trackball is not there. So you will need a 12-in-1 board for that case. But if you don't have a spinner in there, you wouldn't need a 12-in-1 board to use it in a PC because USB is kind of built right in. But in any case, we are going to disconnect the trackball here. I'm going to disconnect these wires. And you can see I did make a small little wire harness before for my color changing and dot per inch, but it's a lot better now for sure. And then we just need to take the screws out. Now this always does worry me because I've done this a lot, and the wood here is not actually the highest quality. So the more times you take these screws out, it is a good chance of it getting stripped, and we definitely do not want these to be stripped because once they're stripped, it's still fixable, but I'd rather not have a problem. I'm sure you guys wouldn't either. Get these out of here. I'm trying to lose my screws. I apologize for the way the wires are. This guy's taken apart and put together so many times. It doesn't pay for me to properly tie the wires down and anything like that. Come here, old devil. There's always that one screw that never wants to come. There we go. All right, now once you do that, you take out your old trackball. In this case, it's a semi-new trackball, but you can see it looks exactly the same, but the guts in here are very different. So I'm going to put this one aside, and we are going to put in our new trackball, which I have to get down over here. So we've taken it in. Again, when you put it in place, there is an arrow, and the arrow has to face your monitor. Otherwise, your trackball will be upside down. So I'm going to put this in just like this, and then just screw everything back in place. Which is sometimes a lot of fun. Now what I generally do is I start the screws, but I don't put them in all the way just yet because a lot of times they don't line up in the holes properly. You may have to adjust a couple things. So once you get all the screws started, once that's done, then I will tighten them all down.
You can see the process is very, well, that didn't even go in, I don't think it went in. The process is very simple. There we go, it's in that time. Come on, little devil. Gotta get this to bite, gotta get the bite. So I'm saying sometimes these holes do not want to line up. Gotta get it just right. There we go. You don't want to force anything. I hate when that happens. That is the worst. Where did you go? Where did you go? All the way down there. Generally that happens like one time out of every time I work on this. One screw will just take off on me, but that's okay. So you just want to be careful here. Take your time. Don't try and force the screw in. You're just going to damage the wood. You don't want to do that. But if you do, you can always get a replacement from Do-It-Yourself Retro Arcade. They make really good new control panels. Okay, I'll put this in again. Don't tighten it super tight. There's no need. Once it kind of stops, maybe get just a little bit more of a turn. This wood can't handle a lot of heavy pressure turning it in. So let's get it down there, just till it's semi-tight. Give it a little bit more. That's all you need. Like so. And just make sure it doesn't move. That's it. Now, next thing we need to do is connect our wire harness. Now again, I'm going to be using this big honky control panel, but that's okay. My buddy Wagner Tech Talk made this, and this is just to try it out anyway. When you want to make this more permanent, you can come up with your own solution, how you want to put these buttons in. I would probably put in smaller buttons, maybe put it on the side, or maybe even on top here, on top of the unit, we got it out of view. But for the arcade 1-up, we need to connect this cable here, which interfaces the main chip. And then what you haven't seen yet is this little guy right here. Now this is what would connect right to the arcade board. I'm gonna put this over here for just 1 second. You know, we normally connect right to here in a regular arcade 1-up, but since it does have a spinner, it's gonna go into my 12-in-1 board, like so. That's it. Now we can close this sucker up. Now I'm gonna take I'll leave this control panel on that side. I'm not sure where I'm gonna put it, but let's get it out of the way for a moment. I gotta bring this down in front, and I just have to reconnect my parts here. And we'll do the main cable first. Then I can't forget my Angel light up display. That should be it. And we put our screws back in just so things don't move on us. Not going to put them in all the way. Let's give a couple of turns. That should hold everything in place. Next thing to do is turn this on, and I have mine on my Wemo, so I got to go to my Wemo and turn this on. Okay, so I have this machine on right now. I'm not quite sure what mode the trackball is in, so I'm going to press the DPI mode. I'm in about 75%. I'm going to set it to the lowest mode. Okay, right now it's in the lowest mode possible. And if I move the trackball, you can see it moves nice and smooth. And we'll start with, of course, Centipede, because that's the game most people were, talking about. The ball right now is light. I'm going to change the color to green, so I'm going into Centipede. So now I'm in a green mode. Hopefully it comes across as the camera is green. I am really not sure if it is, but again, I'll try and get color for you guys a little bit later. So what I'm going to do right now is just start the game.
get our initials put in, I will do that. So let's try a different game. Hold down the player 1 button here. Now, one of the games I truly love is good old Missile Command. So I'm going to go up to Missile Command right here. I'm going to change my color to red because it's Missile Command. There we go. Set it to red. And let's play some Missile Command. And if you don't like how the sensitivity is, you can hit that DPI and change it to a higher setting, but let's go. I might set up higher one more. Yeah. Ball is extremely smooth, very, very precise. Ah! Ah, toast. They got me. All right, let's try a different game here.
Crystal Castles, very fun game. I am going to change my dot pitch up a little bit. Might go one more, about 70%. Put in a coin. If I wanted to cheat, I'll go higher. Oh, and die. Do a little double. Ah, I lost my hat. Get away from that guy. Come on. Thank you. All right, let's try a different game. Here we'll slide out. Oh, try, there we go. We could try some Liberator. Let me change the color again. Make it a blue. Fire button. There we go. Dot print is too high. I'm going to lower that a little bit. There we go. Still think that's a little high. Change that again. Maybe there. I think that's better. Around 50% is better. So guys, that's really it. The version 3 trackball should be available on Amazon soon. We will still be making the version 2 trackball. It'll be different levels. You can have the standard version 2, or go for the version 3, which is using a new optical technology, adjustable depth per inch on the fly, adjustable color on the fly. It is compatible with the classic arcade 1-ups, like the 12-in-1 and the Centipede units, and probably the original Partycades. The newer ones, it looks like they changed something, and I haven't gotten any response back from support over the past like 6 months, so I can't say what they changed or how I can make mine compatible with theirs as of yet. But again, we still have version 2. Version 3 will work with the classic arcade 1-ups and USB things like Windows, MAME, RetroPie, Linux, and Macintosh. So that's really it, guys. I hope you enjoyed watching the video. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, and remember, no matter what you do or how you do it, game on, because that's what it's all about, isn't it? You want to play these games, and that's what I'm going to do right now. Play me some Millipede.
No!
At the Tiny Arcade fan page. Remember, don't admire people too much. They'll disappoint you.
Sit, Blue Blue, sit. Good dog.